Cannot believe it's you, man. Marta's voice was shaking, standing at the entrance of her little kampong house, the one with the peeling paint. There he was, the man she swore she'd never see again. Fernand, 15 years later. He was wearing a suit that cost more than everything she owned, right? Music. His leather shoes were shining under the late afternoon sun. She had on a blouse patched up 3 times already, and slippers with the sole all worn out. Between them, an awkward silence that lasted a decade and a half. Marta, I. Fernand tried to talk, but the words got stuck in his throat when he saw inside the house. A wobbly table, 3 barefoot kids staring at him with big wide eyes, bare walls, the smell of dampness and sea and poverty. He had driven 5 hours in his fancy car to reach this forgotten Ulu town. He rehearsed 1,000 things to say, but nothing prepared him for this. Music, what you doing here, la? She asked. Her voice was hard, but her eyes told another story. There was pain, so much pain. Music, I need to talk to you, Marta. Fernand took a step forward. It's important, very important. Marta let out a bitter laugh. After 15 years, after just kyonging off without any explanation, after leaving me alone when I needed you most. The kids hid behind their mother. The smallest one, just 5 years old, clung to her leg. It's not what you think, he said. Then tell me. She crossed her arms. Tell me, what's so important that you bring your backside here after so long? Music, tell me, why show up now when I already learned to live without you? When I don't need your empty promises anymore. Fernand took a deep breath, reached into his jacket pocket, and pulled out an envelope that would change everything. I came to give you this, he said, and to tell you the truth. The truth. That word floated between them like a ghost. Music. Because the truth had the power to destroy the little that was left, or to rebuild everything from the ashes. Marta looked at the envelope without touching it. Her heart was beating so loud it hurt. What she didn't know was that this envelope contained something she never imagined, and the conversation about to start would reveal secrets buried for 15 long years. If this story touches your heart, don't forget to subscribe. Stories like this need to be told. Music. Marta didn't take the envelope. She just stepped aside and pointed inside the house with a dry gesture. Come in, but take off those shoes, la. Don't want you to dirty the floor. Fernand obeyed, took off his Italian leather shoes and left them at the entrance. The cement floor felt cold under his feet. Clean, he noticed. Despite everything, it was spotlessly clean. Music. The 3 kids were still watching him. The eldest, a girl about 12 with uneven braids, looked at him with suspicion. The middle one? Music. An 8-year-old boy in a t-shirt, 2 sizes too big. Music hid behind his sister. The littlest one, plastered to his mother's legs, was sucking his thumb. Sophia, bring your brothers out, can? Marta ordered softly. But mama now, my dear. The girl nodded, took her brother's hands, and went out the back door. Before leaving, she threw Fernand one last look. Music. A look that said, if you hurt her, you better watch out for me, Sia. Fernando felt something tighten in his chest. Music. That girl had the same fire in her eyes as Marta, the same spirit he fell in love with so many years ago. Sit down. Marta pointed to a rickety chair by the wobbly table. Although I dunno if your designer suit will survive the scrubbing. He sat down without answering the provocation. The table was set for 4. 4 plates of mi hoon kue leftovers. 4 roti on a plate. 1 pot of beans. That was dinner. Are they yours? He asked, though he already knew the answer. The kids. Marta sat opposite him, maintaining distance. Nola. I found them on the street and decided to collect them. Marta, what did you expect, Fernand? That I'd stay frozen in time waiting for you? Life moved on. I moved on. Who's the father? The question came out harsher than she intended. Marta Music looked at him with something that was half pain, half fury. That's not your business. Not anymore. There was a time when there were no secrets between them. When they were young, when Fernand was still an architecture student with more dreams than money, when Marta worked at her uncle's bakery and he'd save her the day-old bread. They got married in a simple ceremony, 20 guests, a borrowed dress, but they were happy, or so Fernand thought. Until the offer came, the opportunity of a lifetime, an investor partner who wanted to finance his first big music project. But there was a condition. He had to go, move to the capital, work day and night for years. I'll be back in 2 years, he promised her. 3 maximum. I'm gonna build our future. She had cried, begged him not to go, but he was blind with ambition, young and blur. I'll come back for you, he'd said, I swear it. Music. He never did. I know I got no right to be here, Fernand said now, his voice lower. I know I failed you, that I broke all my promises, every single one. Marta let out a humorless laugh. No, Fernand, you didn't just break your promises. You shattered me. You left me alone. When she stopped, music, she swallowed hard. Her eyes were shining, but she wasn't going to cry. Not in front of him. When? What? Nothing. Forget it. Music. Marta, please, please. She stood up abruptly. The chair scraped the floor. You come after 15 years with an envelope and a please? You think that's enough? Fernand also stood up, placed the envelope on the table. I didn't come to ask for forgiveness. I came to give you what always belonged to you. She looked at the envelope like it was a venomous snake. I don't want your money. It's not charity. It's yours by right. I don't need anything from you, Marta. Open it. No. Her shout echoed in the bare walls. Outside, the kids went quiet. Suddenly, Marta took a deep breath, trying to calm down. Look at yourself, Fernand said softly. Music. Look at this house. The kids without shoes. Food that barely lasts. But it's mine. All this is mine. I built it with my hands, with my dignity still intact. And their music was the reason he fell in love with her. That fierce dignity. That pride that wouldn't break even when everything else collapsed. I know, he said. Music. And I admire you for that. Always did. Admiration? Marta laughed. Music. But there were tears now running down her cheeks. I don't want your admiration. I wanted you here. When she stopped, she covered her mouth. She'd said too much. Fernando took a step closer, then another. What did you lose? She shook her head. Marta, please, music, tell me about our son. The words came out like a broken whisper. I lost our son 2 months after you left. Fernand's world stopped. All sound vanished. Only that impact remained. The truth that just broke something inside him that could never be fixed. You were 3 months pregnant. I was gonna tell you the day before you left, but you were so excited about your chance. I didn't want to spoil your moment. Fernando sank into the chair. His hands trembled. I didn't know. Of course you didn't know. Because you never called, never wrote. You disappeared like we never existed. The envelope remained on the table between them. Music, a white rectangle holding secrets. Secrets that could change everything or destroy the little that was left. Music. Open it, Fernand said with a broken voice. Please. After that, if you want me to go, I'll go and you'll never see me again. Marta looked at the envelope. Her hands trembled as she reached for it. What she was about to discover would change everything she thought she knew about these 15 years of abandonment. Marta opened the envelope with shaky hands. Music inside were documents, many documents. She spread them on the wobbly table, one by one. Her face changed as she read. First confusion, then disbelief, finally something like shock. Music. What is this? Bank certificates, Fernand replied. In your name. Music. This says, Marta read again, as if the words could change. This says $20, $1 million. Yes. Music. You're crazy, La. She threw the papers on the table. You think you can buy me? That you can just show up here with money and erase everything? It's not that. Then what is it? Fernand stood up and walked to the window. Outside, the 3 kids were playing in the dirt yard. Sophia was pushing her brothers on a swing made from an old tire and rope. When I left, we signed papers, remember? We signed many things. The marriage, the mortgage for the house you never finished paying for. No, other papers. My partner, the investor, he insisted, said it was for protection, that if anything happened to me, you'd be covered. Marta frowned, trying to recall. I was so excited for you to follow your dream that I signed without reading. I trusted you. That document. Music stated that 50% of everything I earned would be yours automatically, regardless of whether we were together or not. Silence. A silence so deep you could hear the wind rustling the dry leaves in the yard. You're saying that? That every building I built, every project I finished, every cent I earned in these 15 years, half of it was legally yours? Music by contract? Marta sank back into the chair. Her legs wouldn't hold her. Then why do I live like this? Her voice was barely a whisper. Why are my kids barefoot? Why do we eat beans every day? Because you never claimed what was yours. Music. And I. Fernand closed his eyes. I was a coward. Explain yourself. After the first year, when the business exploded, when the money started coming in, I knew I should have come back. Music fulfilled my promise, but every month that passed, it got harder. Music, I had so much work, so much pressure. I kept telling myself, music, 1 more month, just 1 more month, and I'll have everything ready to come back for her. And 1 month became 6. 6 became a year. Before I knew it, 3 years had passed. I tried to call, but your number was gone. I came to look for you, but your auntie told me you had moved, that you didn't want anything to do with me. Marta stiffened. My auntie died 10 years ago. I know, I found out later, but by then 5 years had already passed music and I just assumed you had rebuilt your life. That you didn't need the $20 million accumulating in your account was my way of compensating. Compensating? Marta's voice rose. You think money compensates for you leaving when I needed you most? For me losing our baby alone? Music? For having to beg for work? For my kids growing up thinking their mother is worth nothing? Fernand turned, tears in his eyes. No, none of that compensates for anything. That's why I came not to give you the money, but to tell you the truth, to ask you, not for forgiveness. I don't deserve forgiveness, but for the chance to meet those kids, to help, to be here. The kids, Marta jumped up. You want to meet my kids? After losing ours? The back door opened. Sofia walked in, her big eyes scared. Mama, you okay? We heard shouting. Marta took a deep breath. Music. She wiped her tears with the back of her hand. I'm fine, my dear. Go back, music outside. But Sofia didn't move. She looked at Fernand with that protective suspicion kids have when they've grown up too fast. Music. He's bothering you, Mama. Fernando felt something crack in his chest. Music. This girl, barely 12, was ready to defend her mother from a man 3 times her size. No, Sofia, Marta said, voice softer. We're just talking. Music. Go with your brothers. Sure, sure. The girl left, but left the door slightly ajar. Just in case. Music. Marta sank back into the chair, looking exhausted, as if she'd run a marathon. Who's the father? Fernand asked again, softer this time. Marta looked at him for a long moment. There was something in her eyes Fernand couldn't decipher. Pedro, she said finally. He worked in construction. He was good, music kind. He wasn't you. But he was good. He passed away 4 years ago. Accident at a site. The kids didn't even get compensation because the company went bust. Fernando felt a pang of something that might have been jealousy, but it was too late for that. Too absurd. I'm sorry. I don't want your pity. It's not pity. It's empathy. Music. You. The successful millionaire? You lost something? Fernand looked her straight in the eyes. I lost the only woman I ever loved. I lost a son I never knew. I lost 15 years I'm never getting back. Those were your choices. I know. That's why I'm here. Marta looked again at the documents on the table. Music. $20. $1 million. A fortune. Enough to change everything. To give her kids education. Shoes. A future. But at what cost? If I accept this, she said slowly. What do you want in return? Nothing. Everyone wants something. Just let me be in their lives. In yours. Not as a husband. I'm not crazy enough to think that's possible. Music, but as... I don't know. As a friend. Someone who can help. For how long? Until you get bored again. Until another project calls you. A fair question. And Fernand had an answer that sounded convincing. I don't know, he admitted. I just know that these 15 years without you were empty. I built music 30 buildings. Earned more money than I can spend. But every night in my empty penthouse I looked at our wedding photo and asked myself, was it worth it? And it was worth it. Fernand shook his head. No, none of it was worth losing you. Outside, the sun was starting to set. The kids ran in with red cheeks and messy hair. They stopped when they saw Fernand still there. Mama, we hungry, said the middle boy. Marta looked at the pot of beans, looked at her 3 kids, looked at the documents on the table, and finally looked at Fernand. What she decided in that moment would change everything for music for her kids, for the man she once loved, who was now a rich stranger in her humble house. But there was something Fernand still hadn't told her, something about to be revealed that would make everything he just confessed seem insignificant. Sit down for dinner, Marta told her children. Her voice was firm, but Fernand noticed the tremor in her hands as she served the beans. The 3 kids settled at the table. Sofia helped the youngest climb onto his chair. Fernand remained standing, feeling like an intruder in this family intimacy. You too, Marta said, without looking at him. If you're gonna be here, eat with us. It was more an order than an invitation. Fernand sat down. Dinner was silent. The children ate fast, music clearly hungry. Sofia split her tortilla in half and gave a piece to her younger brother. A gesture so natural it was obvious she did it every day. Fernand could barely swallow. Every bite tasted of guilt. When they finished, Sofia started clearing the plates. "Let me help," Fernand offered. "No needla," the girl replied coldly. "Sofia, don't be rude," Marta chided softly. "But Mama, we don't know him." "I know, dear, but he's an old friend." Sofia looked at him skeptically. At 12, she had already learned to be wary of old friends who showed up out of nowhere. After washing the dishes in a tub of cold water, Marta took the kids to their room. Fernand heard their soft voices, the usual ritual, a story, prayers, goodnight kisses. When she returned, the moon was already out. Music. The house was lit only by an oil lamp. The electricity had cut out again. "You sleep fast when you're tired," Marta said, sitting opposite him. Music. "When you've worked from sunrise till sunset, Sofia works too. Helps at the village shop 3 days a week after school. Earns enough for her notebooks." Fernando felt something break in his chest. Music. She's 12, and she's stronger than many adults. There was a silence. Fernand watched the lamp flame dance. "You said you came to look for me," Marta began. "That my auntie told you I'd moved." "Yes, 3 years after you left. My auntie Elena." "Yes." Marta leaned forward, her eyes shining in the lamplight. "Fernand, my auntie Elena died 2 years before you left." The world stopped. Fernand looked at her, confused. "What?" "Elena, my mother's sister, died of cancer when I was 20, 2 years before we got married. But, I spoke to her, went to her house. A woman with gray hair, tied in a bun, lived in the blue house at the end of the main street." Marta went pale. "That wasn't my auntie Elena." "Then who?" "Magdalena." The name came out like a whisper. "Pedro's aunt, his late father's mother." Fernand understood nothing. It made sense. Why would your Pedro's aunt be in that house? Why would she lie to me? Marta got up and walked to an old box in the corner. She rummaged inside and pulled out a yellowish photograph. She handed it to Fernand. In the photo, a young woman held a baby. Beside them, a man in construction overalls. Behind them, a blue house. This is Magdalena when she was young, and that's Pedro's grandfather. That house has been in their family for 3 generations. Fernand studied the photo. The woman he spoke to, who told him Marta had left, that she didn't want anything to do with him. "I don't understand why she lied to me." "Music, because I was with Pedro." Marta sat back down, her hands trembling. "When you came looking for me 3 years after you left, I had just met Pedro. It was only 2 months in. But Magdalena was very protective of her family. When she saw a rich man in an expensive suit asking for me, she assumed you came to cause trouble. Music, to ruin what her nephew was building with me." Fernand ran his hands through his hair. His mind raced. "So she lied to me, told me you had left to push me away." "Yes. And you didn't know I had come looking for you." Marta shook her head, tears running down her cheeks. "I never knew. Magdalena never told me. And I just assumed you really had forgotten me, that all your promises were lies." Fernand stood up abruptly. The chair fell backward with a crash. "Music. I came 3 times, Marta. 3 times that year. The first time she told me you had moved. Music the second that you had gotten married. The third that you didn't want to see me, to leave you in peace." "Oh my God." Marta covered her mouth. "I lived only 2 streets away. If I had asked anyone else, but I didn't. I trusted what she told me. I thought she was respecting your wishes." The room spun. Years of assumptions, of self-inflicted pain, of decisions based on lies. "Wait," Marta suddenly said. "You said you came back 5 years ago, that you knew when my auntie died. Music." "Yes. I read her obituary in the village paper. Music. Elena Rodriguez. I thought it was your auntie. When I called to give my condolences, they told me you had no close family, that you lived alone with your kids, but I didn't have an auntie Elena by then. She had died years ago." Fernando felt a chill run through him. "Then whose obituary was it?" Marta walked back to the box and pulled out an old newspaper. She spread it on the table. There it was, Elena Rodriguez, but the full surname was Elena Rodriguez de Vargas. "This was the mayor's wife," Music Marta explained. "She died 5 years ago. It had nothing to do with me." Fernando slumped against the wall. All of this, music, all these years, based on confusion, coincidences, and well-intentioned lies. "I could have found you," he whispered. "At any point in these 15 years, I could have truly found you. But I didn't because I believed what they told me, because I assumed you had moved on, because I was a coward who preferred to believe a comfortable lie than come here and fight for you." Marta wiped her tears. Her face was a mix of anger, pain, and something else, something Fernand couldn't identify. "You know what's the worst?" she asked. "Magdalena died 3 years ago. I can never ask her why she did it. I'll never know if she really thought she was pushing you away to protect me, or if what? Or if she wanted to make sure I stayed with Pedro, so her family wouldn't lose the chance to have a mother for their future grandchildren." Music. The silence that followed was dense, loaded with implications. "The kids," Fernand said slowly. "Music, you said the eldest was 12. Sofia is 12. Yes. We separated 15 years ago. That's right. And you met Pedro 2 months before I came looking for you, which means 3 years after you left." Fernand did the maths in his head. His face, Music, turned pale. "Marta, when exactly was Sofia born?" She looked him in the eyes, and in that moment, Fernand knew. He knew before she said a single word. 3 months after meeting Pedro. 9 months after losing you. Fernand's world stopped Music completely. Then, "Sofia is yours." The words came out as a whisper. "Sofia is your daughter." Fernando couldn't breathe. Marta's words echoed in his head like bells. "Sofia is your daughter." He sank into the chair. His hands trembled so much he had to press them against his knees. "How?" His voice came out broken. "How is that possible? You said you lost the baby, and I lost him." Marta sat opposite him, exhausted. "I lost the first one, the one I carried when you left, at 12 weeks. The doctor said it was due to stress, due to the suffering. Music. But then, 3 weeks later, I found out I was pregnant again." Fernando looked at her, uncomprehending. "It was twins, Fernand." The tears ran freely down Marta's face. "Now I was pregnant with twins. I lost one. But Sofia held on to life. She was born premature, weighing just 2 kilograms, but she survived." Fernand's world reeled. Music. "A daughter. I have a daughter who's 12 years old, a brave girl with uneven braids and fire in her eyes, who's been living in poverty while I was building empires. Why didn't you tell me?" His voice was barely a whisper. "How? How could I tell you if you disappeared? I changed my number 3 months after you left, because I couldn't bear looking at the phone waiting for a call that never came. When I came back to the village after giving birth, your number didn't work either. I could have known her. I could have been there for her first steps, her first words. But you weren't there." Marta's voice rose. "You weren't there when she was born blue, and the doctors said maybe she wouldn't survive the night. You weren't there when she got pneumonia at 6 months, and I stayed awake 3 days straight, praying for her to breathe. You weren't there when she took her first steps alone in this empty house because I was working." Fernando got up and walked to the room where the kids slept. He stopped at the door, looking through the crack. Sofia was sleeping in the middle with her 2 younger brothers snuggled against her. Her arm was protecting the smallest one. "Music, she looks like you," Marta whispered behind him. "She has your nose, your stubbornness, the way you frown when you're concentrating. She knows, doesn't she?" Marta nodded, Music slowly. He knew from the start. "I told him the truth before we got married, that I was pregnant by another man, that man had left me. Pedro said he didn't care, that he would love Sofia as if she were his own. And he did, more than you ever would have loved her." There was poison in those words, poison born from years of pain. He carried her on his shoulders, taught her to ride a bike, called her my princess. Music. When he died, Sofia cried for weeks. To her, he was her father, the only father she knew. Fernando closed his eyes. Every word was a stab, and the other 2 are Pedro's, biologically his, but Sofia takes care of them like they're hers too. Music. That girl is 12 and she's already more of a mother than many adult women. Fernando turned to look at Marta. "I want to tell her. You have no right to know." "No." Marta crossed her arms. "You're not gonna come here after 15 years and shatter her world." "Shatter it? Marta, look where she lives. Music, look how she's dressed. Don't you think she deserves to know she has a father who can give her everything?" "Everything? Will you, Music, give her time? Memories? Sleepless nights when she has nightmares? Hugs when the world feels too heavy?" "Yes, all of that. I'll try." "You'll try?" Marta pushed him in the chest. It was a weak gesture, Music, but loaded with years of fury. "My daughter doesn't need tries. She's had enough abandonment for a lifetime. I'm not gonna abandon her. That's what you said about me." The blow landed. Fernand stepped back as if slapped. A noise made them turn. Sofia was in the doorway, awake, big eyes in the dark. "Why you all fighting?" Her voice was small, vulnerable, nothing like the fierce girl from before. Marta rushed to her. "Music." "It's nothing, my dear. Go back to sleep." I heard shouting. Sofia looked at Fernand with suspicion. "Who is he, Mama? Why is he here?" Marta opened her mouth, but no words came out. She looked at Fernand with panic in her eyes. Fernand knelt down to be at Sofia's level. The girl stepped back, taking shelter behind her mother. "My name is Fernand." "Music," he said softly. "I'm an old friend of your mama's. Why are you making her cry?" The question was direct, accusatory, and fair. Because sometimes when adults talk about things from the past, it hurts. But it's not your fault, it's mine. Sofia studied him with those eyes so similar to his. "My papa said real men don't make women cry." Fernando felt like a knife was stuck in his heart. "Your papa was right, and I'm sorry." "Sofia, please, go back to bed," Marta pleaded. "He's gonna stay." "I don't know." Sofia looked at Fernand one last time. Then, with the seriousness of someone much older than 12, she said, "If you stay, don't make Mama cry again. She cried enough already." She went back into the room, closing the door softly behind her. Marta collapsed back into the chair, exhausted. "You need to go, Fernand. Not tonight, but soon. I need to think, process all this, and the money." She looked at the document still on the table. "I don't know. It's too much. Everything is too much. It's yours by right. Music rights mean nothing when your whole world just exploded." Fernand nodded. He understood, or at least tried to understand. "Can I come back tomorrow?" "I don't know. Please, just to talk, to get to know her. Them. Her." Marta closed her eyes. When she opened them, there was a tired determination in them. "There's something else you need to know." "What?" "Sofia is sick." The world music stopped again. It seemed everything Fernand learned tonight came with a devastating emotional cost. Sick. How? Her heart. She was born with a defect. The doctor said she'd need surgery eventually. That eventually came 6 months ago, and I don't have money for the operation. It costs more than I'll earn in my whole life. Fernando felt like someone ripped the air from his lungs. "How serious is it if she doesn't get the operation in the next few months?" Marta couldn't finish the sentence. "She didn't need to. I'm gonna operate on her music now, tomorrow, whenever necessary." "It's not that simple." "Why not?" "Because if you suddenly appear with money to save her life, she's gonna ask questions I'm not sure I'm ready to answer. Then tell her the truth." "And what truth? That her real father abandoned her before she was born? That he only showed up when he found out he had money in his name? That he could have been there all this time but chose not to be?" Every word was a bullet, and they all hit the mark. "You're right," Fernand said, his voice breaking, "about everything. But that doesn't change the fact that my daughter is sick, and I can save her." Our daughter. Marta walked to the window. Outside, the moon illuminated the dirt yard where her kids played every day. "Give me a week," she finally said. "A week to talk to her, to prepare her. And if we don't have a week? According to the doctors, we have 3 months, maybe 4. Music. And you're willing to risk that?" Marta turned. Her face was a mask of pain. "I've risked everything for her, since the moment she was born." "What have you risked?" There was no answer to music that. Because the truth was, Fernand hadn't risked anything. He had played it safe. He had built his empire, while his family fell apart. "I'll be back tomorrow." "Music," he said. "And every day after that, until you let me be a part of your lives. However, whatever way you allow. And your company, your projects, let them go to hell. I have 15 years to make up for." Marta looked at him for a long moment, searching for sincerity, searching for the trap, searching for the man she once loved in this strange millionaire now in her house. "Okay," she finally said. "Come back music tomorrow at 4, after Sofia comes back from school." It was a chance, small, fragile, but a music chance. Fernand nodded and walked to the door. He put on his expensive shoes, which now looked obscene in this place of humility. "Fernand, music," Marta called when he had his hand on the knob. He turned. "If you break her heart, if you disappoint her like you disappointed me, there won't be enough money in the world to protect you from me." It wasn't an empty threat, it was a promise. And Fernand believed it. "I won't," he said. "I swear." "I don't believe your swears anymore." Fernand went out into the night. His luxury car waited on the dirt street, an obscene contrast to the humble houses around. He sat inside, but didn't start the engine. He just looked at Marta's house. The lights went out one by one until only darkness remained. Music. He had a daughter. A daughter who was dying. A daughter who didn't know him. A daughter who loved another man as a father, and he only had days to change 15 years of absence. What Fernand didn't know was that someone else had been watching that night. Someone whose presence would change everything again. Because in a small village, music secrets never stay buried for long. Fernand didn't sleep that night. He stayed in the only hotel in the village, a modest room with thin walls and a sunken mattress, music so different from his penthouse in the capital. But it wasn't the discomfort keeping him awake. It was the image of Sofia, his daughter, sleeping between her brothers, protecting them even in dreams, with a sick heart that he must save. At 6 a.m., someone knocked on his door, hard, insistent. He opened it to find a woman around 40, with her hair tied in a tight braid and eyes burning with barely contained fury. Music. You are Fernand? It wasn't a question. Yes. Who are you? Rosa, Pedro's sister, pushed the door open and walked in without waiting for an invitation. And I've come to tell you to leave this village before you destroy what little is left for my sister-in-law. Fernando closed the door and turned to face her. I don't know what you heard. Music. I heard everything. Rosa crossed her arms. Marta's windows are thin, and I live in the next house. Music. The house that was my brother's. The house from where I looked after those kids when Marta was working 18 hours a day to feed them. Fernando felt the weight of the accusation. So you know Sofia is my daughter. I know you abandoned Marta when she was pregnant. That my brother was the man who was there when you weren't. That Sofia called Pedro Papa until his last breath. And I respect that. Pedro was a better man than you. Respect. Rosa laughed without humor. That's what you call showing up with your dirty money 15 years later? It's not dirty money. It's money that legally belongs to Marta. And you think that makes you better? You think money erases 15 years of absence? No, but it can save Sofia's life. Rosa fell silent. Her face softened just a little. Marta told me about the operation she needs. Music. So you understand why I'm here? I understand that a rich man with a guilty conscience thinks he can buy his redemption. Fernando sat on the edge of the bed. He was tired, so tired. I'm not trying to buy anything, music. I just want to help. Help. Rosa moved closer. Do you know how many times Sofia asked me, music, why she didn't have a papa, like the other kids? How many times I heard her cry because the kids at school made fun of her? I didn't know. Exactly. You didn't know because you weren't here, because you chose not to be. Rosa took a deep breath, trying to calm down. Marta is like my sister. Those kids are my nephews. I watched them grow up, suffer, fight. And now you appear like a savior when all you've been is a ghost. You're right, Fernand looked up. But that doesn't change the fact that Sofia is sick, and I can pay for the surgery. And then what? You stay or you disappear again when your conscience is clear. Will I stay? For how long? A week? A month? Until your businesses call you back? As long as necessary. Rosa studied him. Music. Searching for lies. Searching for the trap. My brother left something before he died. Music, she said finally. A letter. He asked me to give it to Marta if you ever showed up. Fernando felt a chill. What does the letter say? I don't know. It's sealed. But Pedro made me promise to give it to her. Rosa took a yellowish envelope from her bag. I was going to give it to Marta this morning, but I wanted to see you first, see what kind of man you are. And what do you see? I see a scared, lost man trying to fix something that maybe can't be fixed. Rosa put the envelope on the table. But I also see a man who finally showed up late, but he showed up. What do you want me to do? I want you to be honest with Marta, with Sofia, with yourself. Rosa walked to the door. And I want you to understand something. If you hurt that girl, if you break her heart, like you broke your mother's heart, there won't be enough money in the world to hide from me. It was the second threat in less than 12 hours, and Fernand believed both. Rosa opened the door, but paused. Music. One more thing. Sofia has an appointment with the cardiologist tomorrow in the capital. Marta borrowed money for the bus and the consultation fee. If you really want to help, you can start there. What time is the appointment? 10 a.m. at the Central Hospital. I'll take them. Marta won't agree. Then convince her, please. Music. Not for me, for Sofia. Rosa looked at him for a long moment. Finally, she nodded. I'll talk to her, but I won't promise anything. She left, leaving Fernand alone with the letter from a dead man, a man who had been a better father to his daughter than he had been. Fernando looked at the envelope. The music handwriting was clear, careful. To Marta, only if he comes back. Pedro somehow knew that Fernand would eventually return. What had he written? Warnings, advice, forgiveness? Fernand resisted the urge to open the letter. It wasn't for him, music, but he couldn't stop wondering what secrets it held. At 3 p.m., his phone rang. It was an unknown number. "Hello, this is Marta." Her voice sounded strained. "Rosa told me about music. The appointment. I can take you and Sofia and pay the consultation and music, any tests. I don't need your charity. It's not charity, it's responsibility. I should have been there from the start. Let me be there now. Music." There was a long silence. "Okay, but with conditions, whatever they are. Don't tell Sofia anything yet. You're just a friend helping us, nothing more. Understood? And when we're at the hospital, music, let me do the talking. You just pay and keep quiet. Understood? And Fernand, yes, if this is a game for you, if you plan to disappear after, music, tell me now, because I won't let you give my daughter false hopes if you don't plan to stay. It's not a game, and I won't disappear. That's what you said before." The call ended. Fernand stared at the phone, wondering if he could ever win back Marta's trust. He spent the rest of the day making calls, canceling meetings, delegating projects. His assistant was confused. "Mr. Castillo, is everything all right?" "No," he had replied honestly, "but it will be." At 6 p.m., he walked to Marta's house. The kids were playing outside. Sofia was watching them as always. When she saw him, her expression hardened. "Hello," Fernand said, keeping a respectful distance. "Hello. Your mama told me you have an appointment tomorrow." "Yes." Sofia wouldn't look him in the eye. "With the heart doctor." "Music. You mind if I tag along? Can I drive you in my car?" "Why?" It was a simple question, but loaded with meaning. "Because your mama is important to me, and you all are important to her." Sofia finally looked at him. "My papa used to say words mean nothing without actions. Your papa was a wise man. He was." There was pride in his voice, and pain. "I wish he was here." "Me too." And Fernand meant it. Because if Pedro was alive, Sofia would have a father who knew how to love, who knew how to stay. Marta came out of the house. She wore her best dress, the only one without visible patches. "Time to go in, kids," she called. The younger brothers ran inside. Sofia followed, but before going in, music, she looked at Fernand one last time. "Are you gonna make my mama cry again?" "I'm gonna try not to." Trying is not enough. She went into the house, leaving Fernand with Rosa, who had appeared on her porch. "She's smarter than you think," Rosa said. "She sees things, understands things. Don't music underestimate her." "I won't." "Good." Rosa turned to go into her house, because tomorrow, at the hospital, everything could change. The doctors might say there's no time. Music, that she needs the surgery now. And then you'll have to decide what's more important, your comfort or your daughter's life. The words hung in the air. That night, Fernand dreamed of a man he never met, Pedro. Music. A man who had loved his daughter, who had given her everything. Fernand couldn't music, and he wondered if he could ever live up to that legacy. What he didn't know was that tomorrow, in that hospital, he would discover something that would make everything else seem insignificant, because the secrets of the past were about to collide with the reality of the present, and nothing would ever be the same. Fernand arrived at Marta's house at 7 a.m. Too early, but he couldn't sleep. Marta opened the door with tired eyes. She hadn't slept either. "We'll get there 3 hours early," she said. "I'd rather that than be late." Sofia came out in her best clothes, a blouse that was too short and trousers with a patch on the knee. She wore her hair carefully braided, trying to look older, stronger than she felt. The trip to the capital was silent. Sofia looked out the window, amazed by a world she rarely saw. Marta kept her hands tightly clasped on her lap. Fernand drove, aware that he was carrying the most precious thing he had in his car, a family he didn't know how to care for. Music. The central hospital was an imposing building of concrete and glass. People went in and out constantly. Ambulances, music, doctors, the smell of disinfectant and desperation. In the cardiology waiting room, Sofia sat between her mother and Fernand. Her legs didn't touch the floor. She was so small, so fragile. "Does it hurt?" Fernand asked softly. "What? Does your heart hurt?" Sofia shrugged. "Sometimes, when I run too much music, or when it's cold." "Are you scared?" The girl looked at him with those eyes so similar to his own. "My papa said fear only has the power you give it. He was a very wise man." "Yes." Sofia looked down. "I miss him every day. Fernando felt a pang of absurd jealousy for a dead man who had been a better father in 4 years than he had been in a lifetime. Sofia Martinez, a nurse, called. Marta stood up. Fernand too. Only one companion can enter. Music, said the nurse. Marta looked at Fernand. There was panic in her eyes. She needed someone else to hear, for someone else to understand. You're the husband, the nurse said to Fernand. It wasn't a question. Me. Fernand looked at Marta. Yes, she said. The lie came out easily, necessarily. He's my husband. They went in together. Sofia between them. Like a family they never were. Music. Dr. Ramirez was a man around 60 with steady hands and kind eyes. The type of doctor who had seen too much suffering, but still cared. He checked Sofia, listened to her heart, looked at the old studies Marta had brought in a worn folder. His expression became serious. Music, I need to do new tests on her today. What's wrong? Marta asked, her voice trembling. The valve is deteriorating faster than expected. Much faster. What does that mean? Fernand leaned forward. The doctor looked at both of them, then at Sofia, who had become very still. Sofia, can you wait outside with the nurse? I need to speak with your parents. The girl nodded. She was too mature for her age. She knew the news was bad. When the door closed, Dr. Ramirez took off his glasses. Your daughter needs urgent surgery, not in 3 months, but in 3 weeks, a month maximum. Music. Marta covered her mouth. And if not, her heart could fail at any music moment. Too much effort, too much emotion. Anything could be the trigger. How much is the surgery? Fernand asked. With the prior tests, the specialized team, recovery, we're talking about 800,000 pesos, maybe $1 million. Marta broke down. It was more money than she would see in her entire life. I'll pay. Music. Fernand said immediately. The doctor nodded without surprise. He had seen this scenario many times. There's another problem. What? Sofia's blood type is very rare. AB negative. If there are complications during the surgery, we'll need compatible donors, and the reserves at the blood bank are low. Music. I'm negative, Fernand said. Marta looked at him in shock. How do you know your blood type? I get regular checkups. Part of my routine. The doctor made a note. That's good. Music, very good. But we'll need at least 2 compatible donors. As a precaution. I'll do whatever is necessary, Fernand said. Okay, I'll schedule the tests for today. We'll have the results tomorrow. If everything is as I think, we'll schedule the surgery for 2 weeks from now. 2 weeks. 14 days. For Fernand to meet his daughter, for her to accept him, for her to understand that he wasn't a stranger trying to buy his way into their lives. They left the consultation room. Sofia was sitting, swinging her legs, trying to look brave. What did the doctor say? She asked. Marta knelt in front of her. He said you need an operation, my dear. Soon I'm gonna die. No, Marta's voice broke. Music. No, because we're gonna fix that heart of yours. We have money. Yes. Marta looked at Fernand. We have help. Sofia followed her gaze. She studied Fernand with those eyes that were too wise. Why are you helping us? It was the $1 million question, and Fernand didn't have an answer he could give. Not yet, because it was the right thing to do. Nobody does anything just because it's right. There's always a reason, Sofia. Marta corrected her softly. No, it's okay. Fernand knelt too, getting to her level. You're right. Music. I have reasons, and someday, if you let me, I'll tell you all of them. But for now you can trust that I just want to help. Sofia looked at him for a long moment. My mama trusts you. Marta hesitated. Fernand saw the doubt in her eyes. The question wasn't whether she trusted him to pay for the surgery. It was whether she trusted him to stay, not to break more hearts. I'm learning to trust again, Marta finally said. It wasn't a yes, but it wasn't a no either. The tests took hours. Echocardiograms, x-rays, blood tests. Sofia was brave. She didn't cry once, although Fernand saw how she clenched her fists when the needles pricked her. By the time they finished, it was dark. Sofia was exhausted. She fell asleep in the car on the way back, her head resting on her mother's shoulder. Thank you, Marta whispered in the darkness. You don't have to thank me. Yes, I do, because despite everything, you showed up when we needed you most. 15 years late, but better late than never. Fernand wasn't sure he believed that, but he didn't argue. When they reached the village, it was midnight. Fernand carried Sofia inside. The girl, Music, woke up halfway. Papa, she mumbled, still asleep. Fernand's world stopped. Are you home, my dear? Marta said quickly, taking Sofia from his arms. Music. But it was too late. Fernand had heard that word, that unconscious wish. Sophia opened her eyes wide. She realized what she had said. Her face turned red. "Sorry, I was dreaming." "It's okay," Fernand said, although he felt like someone squeezed his heart. "No, it's not okay." Tears were running down Sophia's cheeks now. "You're not?" She ran inside, music towards her room. Marta followed her. Fernand was left alone on the porch, listening to the muffled sobs of a girl who missed her father, a father who wasn't him. Rosa appeared on his porch. "I heard about the hospital. How is she?" "Bad. Needs surgery in 2 weeks." "And you're gonna pay?" "Yes." Music. "And after you save her life, what's next? You tell her the truth? You expect her to call you Papa?" Fernand sat on the steps, buried his face in his hands. "I don't know what to do. Just do it right. For once in your life, do the right thing." Rosa walked towards her house, but before closing the door, she added, "Music," and read Pedro's letter. "Maybe he has the answers you're looking for." Fernand looked at the envelope he had kept in his pocket, the letter from a dead man. A man who knew how to love when Fernand only knew how to run away. He opened it with trembling hands. The first words hit him like a punch. "Fernand, if you're reading this, music, it means you finally came back. Good, because there's something Marta never told you, something only I knew, and now you have to know it too." Fernand read, and with every word, his world crumbled a little more, because what Pedro had written would change everything, absolutely everything. If you want to know how this music incredible story ends, subscribe now. Don't miss the conclusion. The letter trembled in Fernand's hands. Pedro's words were, "Music," written in clear, paused handwriting, as if he had taken his time, as if he knew every word mattered. "Music, Fernand. If you're reading this, it means you finally came back. Good. Because there's something Marta never told you, something only I knew, and now you have to know it too. Music." The baby Marta lost, Sophia's twin, didn't die from stress. It died because Marta tried to take her own life. 2 weeks after you left, when she found out she was pregnant, she took pills. Not many. Enough to sleep forever. Enough to not wake up to the pain. Her neighbor found her. They called an ambulance. The doctor saved Marta and one of the babies, but the other didn't survive. When I met Marta, 3 years later, she still carried that guilt. She blamed herself for the death of your son. She hated herself for being so weak, for choosing escape over fighting. It took her years to forgive herself, years to accept that Sophia deserved a mother who didn't live in the past. Music. I'm telling you this, not for you to judge her, but for you to understand how much pain you caused her, how much you shattered her. If you came back, if you're reading this, it's because you want to be part of music and their lives. Good, but you need to know the whole truth. You need to understand that your decisions had consequences that almost killed the woman you loved. Take care of them, Fernand. Take care of Sofia. Take care of Marta. Not the way I did, but the way you should have done it from the beginning. With respect. Music, Pedro. Fernand read the letter 3 times. Each time the words cut deeper. Marta had tried to die because of him. She had been music so desperate, so broken, that she had chosen oblivion. He stood up and walked. He didn't know where. His feet just moved. He ended up at the village church, closed at this hour. He sat on the steps. "I almost killed her," he whispered to the night. And he never... Music knew. How could he look her in the eyes knowing this? How could he pretend he deserved a second chance when the first one almost completely destroyed her? Music. His phone rang. It was his assistant. "Mr. Castillo, the investors are worried. The Riverside project needs your approval. If you don't sign by Friday, we lose the contract." "Let them lose it." "What?" "I said let them lose it or have someone else sign it. I won't be there." "But sir, it's $20 million. "I don't care." Music. He hung up. He turned off the phone. For the first time in 15 years. Money didn't matter. At dawn, he knocked on Marta's door. She opened it with swollen eyes. She hadn't slept either. "What are you doing here so early?" "I read Pedro's letter." The color drained from Marta's face. "What letter?" "The one he left. The one Rosa was going to give you." "I don't know what you're talking about, Marta. Please, no more lies." She stepped back. Her hands trembled. "You had no right to read that letter. I know. And I'm sorry, but I read it. And now I know. I know what you did." Marta sank into a chair. She buried her face in her hands. "I didn't want you to know." "Why?" "Because I'm ashamed every day of my life. I'm ashamed of having been so weak. Fernand knelt in front of her. You weren't weak. You were broken, and I broke you. No, I took those pills. I chose to give up. That wasn't your fault. Yes, it was. It was all my fault. No, music, you didn't force me to do anything. I just couldn't bear the pain. Sophia knows. God no. And she will never know. Panic filled Marta's voice. Promise me you'll never tell her. I promise. Why did you come to tell me you read the letter? Fernand sat on the floor in front of her, because he needed her to know that he understood, that he didn't judge her, that he admired her strength for moving on. I don't feel strong, but you are. Look at everything you built, alone with 3 kids, without help. I had help. Pedro was a good man. But don't change what you did. Music. You survived. You raised your kids. You loved them. That's strength. Marta cried. Sobs that came from the deepest part. Years of stored up pain. Fernand didn't know if he could hug her. When he hesitated, she leaned towards him, and he held her as she wept. I'm gonna save her, he whispered. Sophia, I'm gonna do everything necessary. I know. And after, if you let me, I'm gonna spend the rest of my life making up for these 15 years. You can't make up for lost time. Then I'm gonna create new time, better memories. Marta pulled away, music wiping her tears. The test results come today. The doctor will call, and if he says there's no time, that the surgery has to be sooner, music, then it'll be sooner. Marta, I have to tell Sophia the truth before the surgery. Why? Because if something goes wrong. Fernand couldn't finish the sentence. Nothing will go wrong. But if it does, she deserves to know that her father loved her, that he always loved her, even when he didn't know she existed. Marta closed her eyes. Give me one more day, just one day to be a normal kid, before her world changes forever. Okay. One day, Marta's phone rang. It was the hospital. Yes. Her voice trembled. She listened. Her face went pale. I understand. Yes, we'll be there. Music. She hung up. She looked at Fernand with eyes full of fear. The results are worse than they thought. They want to operate tomorrow morning. If we wait longer, the risk is too high. Music, tomorrow. We have to be at the hospital at 6 a.m. One day. Music. They had one day to prepare. One day for Sophia to know the truth. One day for Fernand to be a father for the first time. I'm gonna tell her today, Fernand said. Tonight. Are you sure? No, but it's the right thing to do. Marta nodded, stood up, and walked towards the room where the kids slept. Then get ready, because when you tell her, everything will change for all of us. Fernand spent the day making arrangements. He called the music hospital, paid up front, made sure they had the best surgeon, the best nurses, the best team. He called his mother, whom he hadn't spoken to in months. Mama, I have a daughter. What? A 1-2-year-old daughter, and tomorrow they're gonna operate on her heart, his mother cried. Music. He made promises he wasn't sure he could keep, but he got her blessing. At 6 p.m., he went back to Marta's house. The kids were playing outside. Sophia was watching them, as usual. When she saw him, her expression hardened. Hello, Fernand said, keeping his distance respectfully. Hello. Your mama told me you have an appointment tomorrow. Yes. Sophia didn't look him in the eye. With the heart doctor. Music. You mind if I accompany you? Can I drive you? Why? Fernand breathed deeply. Music. It's time. Because you're important to me, Sophia. More important than you can imagine. You just met me. That's not entirely true. Sophia looked at him, those eyes so similar to his own. What do you mean? Fernand looked towards the house. Marta was at the window. Music. She nodded, giving permission. Sophia, there's something I need to tell you. Something you should have known a long time ago. The girl tensed. What? I met your mama many years ago, before you were born. We were married. You are Sophia. She jumped up. You're the one who left? Yes. Music. The one who abandoned her? Yes. The one who made her cry all those nights I heard her? Every word was a bullet, but Fernand took them all. Yes. And now you come to play hero? No. I come to tell you the truth. What truth? Fernand stood up, looked at this fierce, brave, broken girl. That you are my daughter, Sophia. I am your father. The world stopped. The wind stopped blowing. The birds stopped singing. Sophia looked at him. Then she looked towards the house where Marta had come out onto the porch. Mama. Her voice was small, scared. Marta nodded, tears running down her cheeks. It's true, my dear. Sophia looked at Fernand, at Marta, back at Fernand. And then she ran not towards them, but away, towards the field, towards anywhere but here. Fernand started to follow her, but Marta stopped him. Let her go. She needs to process. And if she doesn't come back, she will come back. They always come back. They waited an hour, 2. When Sofia returned, her eyes were red, but her face was firm. You gonna leave us again? She asked Fernand. No. How do you know? You don't know. You can only give me the chance to prove it. Sofia looked at him for a long moment. Okay, but if you leave us, I'm never gonna forgive you. I won't leave you. She went into the house, leaving Fernand and Marta in the silence of the night. She knows now, Marta said. Yes. And now what? Now we save her. Tomorrow is the surgery. The moment that will determine if Fernand will have the chance to be a father or if he'll lose everything before he even starts. 5 a.m. The house was silent. Fernand hadn't slept. Music. He stayed in his car all night watching, making sure nothing bad happened before dawn. At 5:30, the lights in the house came on. Marta came out first. Music, then Sofia. The girl carried a small bag. She walked like she was going to school, like this was a normal day. But her eyes told another story. Fear. So much fear. Ready? Fernand asked. Sofia nodded. She hadn't spoken since last night, since she knew the truth. Rosa came out to say goodbye. She hugged Sofia tight. You're the bravest girl I know. You're gonna be fine. And if not, don't say that. But if I don't wake up? Rosa looked at Fernand with eyes that said, this is your fault. Fix it. Music. You're gonna wake up, Fernand said. I promise. You can't promise that. You're right, but I'm gonna be there the whole time, music. And when you wake up, I'll be waiting for you. The journey was silent. Sofia looked out the window. Marta squeezed her hand. Fernand drove too fast, then too slow. He didn't know how to handle this terror. At the hospital, a full team greeted them. Nurses, doctors, everything moved very fast. Mr. Castillo, thanks for coming early. Music, we need you to sign these documents. Fernand read. Risks, music, complications, possibility of death. He signed with a trembling hand. Mrs. Martinez, we need you to sign too. Marta took the pen. Music stopped. And if I make the wrong decision? You won't, Fernand said. How do you know? Because you're her mother, and mothers always know, Marta affirmed. Tears stained the paper. They took Sofia to a prep room, put her in a gown, placed an IV. The girl didn't cry. Music, but she squeezed her mother's hand so tight her knuckles were white. Mama, if I don't wake up. Don't say that. But if I don't wake up, take care of my brothers, tell them I love them. You'll tell them yourself. And Mama, forgive me. Why? For not being enough, for costing you so much money, for being the reason you're always sad. Marta broke down, hugged her daughter with all her being. You are the reason I'm still alive. You are my everything. Never, ever think you're not enough. Fernando watched from the doorway. This moment, this love, this music, was what he had lost. The anesthetist came in. It's time. No. Marta clung to Sofia. Give me 1 more minute, ma'am. We need to start. 1 minute, please. The doctor nodded. He went out. Music. Marta kissed Sofia's forehead, her cheeks, her hands. You are my warrior, my light, my reason to live. I love you, Mama. I love you more. Fernando approached. Sofia looked at him. Yes. Her voice was cold. I know I have no right. I know I just appeared. But can I hug you? Sofia looked at him for what seemed like an eternity. Finally, she nodded. Fernand hugged her and felt something crack in his chest. Music. This girl, his girl. Fragile and strong at the same time. When you wake up, he whispered, I'm gonna be there. And every day after that, I promise you. You already promised not to leave Mama, and you did. That will never happen again. Words mean nothing. I know. That's why I'm gonna show you with actions every day. Sofia separated, looked at her mother, then at Fernand. Okay, music, you can show me. They were wheeled down those white corridors towards those doors marked. Operating theater. Authorized personnel only. Marta collapsed. Music. Fernand held her. We're gonna lose her, she sobbed. I'm gonna lose my baby. No, she's strong. Like you. And if it's not enough, it has to be enough. The hours that followed were the longest of Fernand's life. They sat in the waiting room. Music, Marta prayed. Fernand just watched the clock. Tick-tock. Every second, an eternity. At hour 3, a nurse came out. Family of Sofia Martinez? Yes. Marta jumped up. There are complications. They're losing a lot of blood. We need the donor. Now. Fernand didn't hesitate. He ran after the nurse. They took him to a room. They drew blood quickly, efficiently. Is she okay? He asked. They're doing everything they can. It wasn't an answer. It was evasion. He went back to the waiting room. Dizzy. Weak. Marta saw him and ran to him. What happened? Complications. They needed blood. Oh my God. They sat, waited. Hour 4, hour 5. Finally, the doors opened. Dr. Ramirez came out. Music. His gown had blood on it. His face was tired. Marta couldn't breathe. She? The doctor took off his mask. The surgery was successful. Marta collapsed. Fernand held her as she sobbed with relief. But, the doctor continued, the next 24 hours are critical. Her body suffered a lot. She lost a lot of blood. If she gets through tonight, she'll be fine. Can we see her? She's in recovery. In an hour you can see her, but only for a few minutes. They left, leaving Fernand and Marta in that limbo, between hope and terror. She survived. Marta whispered. Yes, music, but we can still lose her. We're not gonna lose her. How do you know? Because she's your music daughter, and you don't give up. She doesn't either. They waited. Every minute weighed a ton. Finally, they were allowed in. Sofia was surrounded by machines, tubes, wires. Her chest rose and fell with the help of a ventilator. She looked so small, so fragile. Marta moved closer, took her hand. I'm here, my dear. Mama is here. Fernand stayed behind, observing this scene he should have witnessed 12 years ago. The birth, the first days, all the moments he missed. You can come closer, Marta said, without looking at him. I don't want to disturb. You're her father. You have the right. Fernand moved to the other side of the bed. He touched Sofia's hand. It was cold. Music. Hello, princess, he whispered. You fought well. We're proud. Music. The monitors beeped constantly. The ventilator did its job. A nurse came in. You need to leave. She needs rest. Can we stay close? Marta asked. There's a waiting room on this floor. Can you stay there? They left slowly, as if leaving the room meant abandoning her. In the waiting room, Marta sat. Music exhausted, broken. Thank you, she said. Why? For your blood, for the money, for being here. You don't have to thank me for doing what I should have done from the start, but you're doing it now. That counts. Fernand sat beside her. Marta, I need to ask you something. What? Pedro's letter, when he said you tried, that you took pills. Music. Did you ever think about doing it again? She looked at him, surprised by the question. No, never. There were dark moments when Pedro Music died, when I didn't have money for food. But no, I never thought of it again. Music. Why? Because of her. Sofia. Marta looked towards the room where Sofia was sleeping. Because she saved me as much as I saved her. Fernand nodded. He understood. And you? Marta asked. Did you ever think about it that way? There were nights I wished I wouldn't wake up. Nights when the emptiness was so big that I didn't know how to go on. And what stopped you? The stupid hope that one day I could fix what I broke. Music. And you think you can fix it? I don't know, but I'm gonna try every day for the rest of my life. Marta rested her head on Fernand's shoulder, exhausted. It's okay, you can try. They stayed like that, two broken people trying to heal, united music by a girl fighting for her life in the next room. Hours passed, night fell. Music, the monitors kept beeping, the ventilator kept working, and Sofia kept fighting because she was a warrior like her mother, like her father should have been. And tomorrow when she woke up, everything would be different, music, or everything would have ended. Day 2 at the hospital. Sofia was still hooked up to the machines, but her vital signs were stable, strong. She's fighting, Dr. Ramirez said during his morning visit. Her body is responding well, Marta cried with relief. Fernand just looked at his daughter, amazed by her strength. When will she music wake up? He asked. Soon. Maybe today. Maybe tomorrow. Her body decides. When the doctor left, Fernand noticed Marta looking at him strangely. What's wrong? I need to tell you something now. Now, before she wakes up, before it's too late. Fernand felt a weight in his chest. There had been so many revelations, so many secrets already. What else could music there be? It's okay. Tell me. Marta looked towards the door. She made sure the other kids, Diego and Mateo, were alone. What about them? They're not Pedro's. Fernand frowned. I don't understand. You said they were his children. I said Pedro was their father. And he was. In every way that matters. But biologically, Fernand's world started to spin. No, yes, it's not possible. It is. Fernand stood up, walked to the window. He needed air, space, something. You're saying that all three are yours? The words came out as a whisper. Sofia, Diego, Mateo, all three. How? Marta wiped away tears that were already running. After Sofia was born, after she survived, I swore never to look for you again. I had closed that chapter, but 2 years later, I came to the capital looking for better work, something that music would allow me to give Sofia a better life. I saw you in a cafe with a woman, laughing, happy, as if we never existed. Fernand closed his eyes. He remembered that time, the women, music, the parties, trying to fill the emptiness with anything that would distract him. I didn't go to talk to you, I just watched you. And that night in the hotel where I was staying, I cried. I cried for everything I had lost, for everything you had chosen over us. Marta, let me finish. Her voice was firm. The next day I went back to the village, and Pedro was there at the bus stop waiting for me. He had gone to look for me because Rosa told him I had gone to the capital. He knew why you went. He knew I needed to close that chapter. He took me to his house, made me coffee, let me cry, and that night I needed to feel alive. I needed to forget. Pedro was kind, patient, and it happened. Fernando clenched his fists. He had no right to feel jealous, music, but he did. I got pregnant that night with twins again. Diego and Mateo. So they are Pedro's, right? Marta shook her head. The doctor said it was impossible, that I must have gotten pregnant before that night, at least 2 weeks before. Fernando turned slowly. 2 weeks before? Yes, but not you and I. It's been years since we. Marta stood up, walked towards him. Do you remember the last day? Before you left, the morning before you got on that plane? Fernand remembered how he would never forget. They had made love slowly, painfully, knowing it was a goodbye. That was 15 years ago. 14 years and a half when I got pregnant with the twins. The numbers didn't add up in Fernand's head. It's not possible. Sofia was already almost 2 by then. Music, exactly. And I had been using protection since she was born. The pill, everything, because I couldn't risk another pregnancy. Music. So how? The doctors said it was an extremely rare case, viable sperm that had remained dormant, or a cryptic pregnancy that wasn't detected. Something medically improbable, but not impossible. Fernand sat down. Music. His legs wouldn't hold him. You're saying that somehow years later, you got pregnant by me? Music. The doctors ran tests after they were born. DNA tests. Because Pedro needed to know. He deserved to know if they were his. And what did the test say? That biologically they weren't Pedro's. The doctor suggested maybe there had been another person. Music. But I swore that it was only you, that Pedro was the first after you. So the tests were wrong. That's what I thought for music years. I believed it until 6 months ago when Sofia needed the surgery, and they did extensive blood tests that found music, a rare genetic marker, extremely rare, 1 in a million. The doctor said if her brothers shared that marker, it would mean they definitely had the same biological father. Music. Fernand could see where this was going. And I ran tests on Diego and Mateo. Music. Without telling anyone. I needed to know. Marta pulled an envelope from her purse. The results came the day before you showed up. She handed him the envelope. Fernand opened it with trembling hands. The 3 kids, Sofia, Diego, Mateo, music, they all share the same genetic marker. R. They are all mine. Yes. All 3. Yes. Fernando looked at Sofia on the bed. Then he thought of the 2 kids at home with Rosa. His kids, all of them. Music Pedro knew. At the end. Yes. I told him a week before he died when the results confirmed what he always suspected. And what did he music say? He said it didn't matter, that he had raised them, that he was their father, that DNA doesn't define love. Fernando felt tears run down his cheeks. He was a better man than I could ever be. You don't know. You haven't tried yet. I raised them music for years, knowing they weren't his, knowing they were yours, Marta corrected, and choosing to love them anyway. Why are you telling me now? Because if something happens to Sofia, if she doesn't wake up, you need to know that you have 2 other children who need you, who deserve to know their father, but they think Pedro is their father, and he was. But you are too. Both can be true. Fernando walked to Sofia's bed, touched her hand. I have 3 children. Yes, and I was absent for all of them. But you're here now. It's enough. I don't know, but it's a start. The door music opened. A nurse came in. There are 2 boys at the reception. They say they are the patient's brothers. A lady named Rosa brought them. Marta looked at Fernand with panic. Music. They couldn't be left alone. Rosa must have brought them. Do you want them to leave? No. But how do I explain? How do I tell them the man who is here is? We don't tell them anything yet. Just say you're the friend who helped, nothing more. Are you sure? Music. No. But I'm not going to confuse them more in the middle of this. They went down to the reception. Diego and Mateo were waiting with Rosa. Their eyes were red from crying. Sofia, is she okay? Music, Diego asked. She's better, Marta said, hugging them. She's fighting. Mateo, the smallest, looked at Fernand. You're the rich mister, Fernand knelt. My name is Fernand. Music, I'm a friend of your mama's, and you saved Sofia. The doctors saved her. I only helped. Thank you. The boy hugged him simply, innocently, not knowing he was hugging his father. Fernand held him. Music. This boy, his son, who smelled of cheap soap and dirt, who had his eyes, his nose. Music, Diego, more reserved, watched. Rosa says you're important. Not as important as you all. Are you gonna stay? It was the question everyone asked. Music, the question Fernand still didn't know how to answer for sure. I'm gonna try. Trying doesn't count. My papa used to say, either you do it or you don't do it. Everyone was quoting Pedro. This ghost man who had been a better father without shared blood than Fernand with all his DNA. You're right then, yes. Music, I'm gonna stay. Diego nodded, accepting the promise, trusting when he shouldn't. They took them to the cafeteria, bought food. The kids ate hungrily. They talked about Sofia, about how much they missed her, about how they looked after her empty bed. Fernand watched them. These kids, his kids with full lives he never knew. Memories he didn't share. Stories where he didn't exist. How does one recover from that? How does one become a father to kids who already have one, even if that father is dead? Rosa came up to him while Marta took the kids to the bathroom. You know now. What? That they're yours? I see how you look at them. Music, Marta told me. Pedro told me too before he died. And what do you think? I think genetics don't make a father. Music, but absence doesn't mean you stop being one either. Rosa looked him straight in the eye. Those kids need a father. You need to be, music, a father. But they need time. Everyone needs it. How much time? As much as necessary. When they returned to Sofia's room, something had changed. The monitors beeped differently. Dr. Ramirez was there checking. What's wrong? Marta rushed. Look. The doctor, Music pointed. Sofia's eyes were moving under her eyelids. Her fingers were flexing. She's waking up. Sofia's eyelids moved once, twice. My dear, I'm here. Marta took her hand. Music, Mama is here. Sofia's eyes opened slowly, disoriented, trying to focus. Mama. Her voice was a hoarse whisper from the tube they had just removed. Music, yes my dear, I'm here. Did I die? No. Marta laughed through tears. You're alive. You fought and you won. Sofia looked around, saw the machines, the wires, then saw Fernand. You came. I told you I would be here. I thought you were lying. I wasn't lying. Diego and Mateo cautiously approached the bed. Music, Sofia. Diego touched her hand carefully. You scared us. Sorry. You don't have to apologize, Mateo said, climbing carefully onto the bed. Just don't do it again. Sofia smiled weakly. Then Music, she looked at her mother. How long? 2 days. But it's over. You're okay now. It hurts, I know, but it's gonna get better, the doctor promised. Music. Dr. Ramirez came in, checked the vital signs, smiled. You're a warrior, Sofia. Your heart is beating strong. I'm not gonna die anymore. Not for a long, long time. Can I go home? In a few days, we need to make sure everything heals well. When the doctor left, Sofia looked at Fernand again. Is it true what you said before the operation? What part? That you're my papa. The kids froze. Marta too. Sofia, this isn't the time, Marta began. I want to know. I almost died. I deserve to know. She's right. She fought for her life. She deserves the truth. Yes, Music, Fernand said. I am biologically your father. Diego looked at Fernand, then at his mother. What does that mean? It means that a long time ago, before you were born, I met your mama. Fernand explained carefully. And we loved each other. But I made a terrible mistake. I left when I shouldn't have. Music. And now you're back? Diego asked with suspicion. Yes. For how long? Forever. That's what my friend Carlos's dad said. He left after 2 months. The child's observation cut music deeper than any adult accusation. I understand you don't trust me. You shouldn't. Not yet. Mateo, the youngest, looked at Fernand with curious eyes. You're my papa too? Marta intervened quickly. Mateo, it's complicated. No, Fernand interrupted. He had made a decision. It's not complicated. Music. Yes, Mateo, I'm your papa too. And Diego's, all 3. Diego looked stunned. All 3? But my papa Pedro. Pedro was your father in every way that matters, Fernand said firmly. He raised you, he loved you, he taught you. I just shared blood with you, but he was your real father. Diego processed the information, his eyes filled with tears. I don't want another papa. I want mine. I know. And I'm never gonna try to replace him. Music, nobody could. Then what are you? Fernand had no answer. What was he? A stranger with money, an absent father trying to compensate, a broken man seeking redemption. I'm someone who wants to know you, to be in your lives, to help. If you let us. And if we don't let you? Sophia asked from the bed. Then I'll respect it, but I won't give up. I'll be here anyway, even if it's from afar. Sophia looked at him, evaluating, deciding. Okay, you can stay for now. Thank you. But we have rules. Which ones? Don't make mama cry. Deal? Don't promise us things you can't keep. Understood? And if you leave again, never come back. The last rule weighed heavier than the other 2 combined. I accept. Marta watched. Her face was a mix of hope and terror. Hope that this could work. Terror that everything would fall apart again. Rosa came in with food, stopped when she saw the scene. The 3 kids around the bed, music, Marta and Fernand, on both sides like a family. Am I interrupting? No, Sophia said. We finished talking and decided to give him a chance, but only one. Rosa looked at Fernand. Don't waste it. I won't. The next few days were a careful dance. Fernand visited every day. He brought books, toys, but most of all, he brought time. He sat with Sophia, listened to her stories, her fears, her dreams. He met Diego, who loved animals and dreamt of being a vet. He met Mateo, music, who drew constantly and saw magic in everything. And slowly, very slowly, they began to trust. A week after the surgery, Sophia was discharged. She could go home. Fernand had prepared something. With Marta's permission, he had renovated the house. Music, not ostentatiously, but practically. A new roof, working electricity, new beds for the kids. When they arrived, Sophia looked around with wide eyes. You did this? Music. I wanted you to come home to a safe place. It's too much. It's never enough. It will never be enough to make up for the lost years. But it's a start. Diego explored his new bed. Mateo found new art supplies. Sophia just sat on the renovated sofa and cried. Music. Why are you crying? Fernand asked, concerned. Because for the first time in a long time, I'm not scared. Scared of what? That the roof will fall, that the electricity will fail, that we won't have enough. Sophia looked at him. Thank you. It was the first time she had thanked him for something. You don't have to thank me. Yes, I do. Because this means maybe you'll stay. I'm gonna stay. Promise. Promise. That night, while the kids slept in their new beds, Marta and Fernand sat on the porch. You're winning them over, she said. That's good. Yes, but it also terrifies me. Why? Because if you leave, if you disappoint them, the pain will be worse than all of this before. I'm not leaving, Marta. That's what you said before. I know, but this time it's different. Music. How? Because now I know what I lost, and I'm not gonna lose it again. Marta looked at him, searching for the lie, searching for the trap. She found none. Okay, music, believe you. For now, it was enough for now. But what neither of them knew was that the past still held secrets. One more, the biggest of all. And when it came to light, it would change everything. Music, again. Because in a small village, where everyone knows everyone, where stories pass from generation to generation, some secrets are too big to stay buried. And this secret involved not only Fernand and Marta, but the real reason why Fernand left 15 years ago. A reason that even he didn't fully know. 1 month later, life had found a fragile, new rhythm. but a rhythm at last. Fernand had rented a house in the village, close by, but not invasive. He spent afternoons with the kids, took them to school, helped with homework. Sofia was recovering well. Her heart was beating strong. Nightmares were less frequent. Diego was starting to call him Fernand instead of Sir. Mateo had drawn him a portrait that Fernand kept in his wallet. Marta watched everything with cautious hope, like someone who had been burned so many times they didn't trust fire, even when it gave warmth. But one Sunday afternoon, everything music changed. A woman arrived in the village, older, elegant, driving an expensive car. She asked for Fernand. Rosa saw her first. Something about the woman felt familiar. Music, unsettling. The woman knocked on Fernand's door. He opened it and froze. "Mama, what are you doing here?" "I came to meet my grandchildren. Or were you planning to hide them from me forever?" Fernand let her in. His mother, Patricia, looked around with barely concealed disapproval. The rented house was modest by her standards. "Why are you really here? Your sister told me everything about the girl, the surgery, the other two. Julia has a big mouth. She's your sister." She was worried. Fernand sat down. He had already faced too many ghosts. His mother was another. "What do you want?" "I want to know why you threw your life away for a village girl and 3 bastards." The word cut. Fernand stood up. "Get out of my house." "Fernand, sit down. We need to talk. About 15 years ago. About why you really left." Fernand stood still. "I left because I had an opportunity. You left because I forced you to." The silence filled the room. "What?" Patricia said, slowly taking off her gloves, a gesture Fernand remembered from his childhood. She always took off her gloves before difficult conversations. "The investor, the one who financed your first project, was your father. Dad died when I was 10. No, your blood father, the man who gave you his surname, who raised you. Yes, he died." Patricia looked him straight in the eye. "But your biological father was alive and wanted to meet you." Music. The world reeled for Fernand. "What are you talking about?" "I married Rodrigo Castillo when I got pregnant with you." Music. He knew he wasn't the father, but he loved me. He gave you his name, raised you as his son. "No, your real father was Alejandro Ruiz, the businessman, the millionaire, the man who showed up 15 years ago with an offer you couldn't refuse." Fernand sank onto the sofa. "Why did you never tell me?" "Because you were going to marry that girl. You were going to stay in this forgotten village. You were going to waste your talent. You were going to be happy," Fernand corrected with bitterness. "You were going to be poor, and I had fought too hard to get us out of poverty. I wasn't going to let you go back to it. So, what did you do?" "I told Alejandro you wanted to meet him, that you wanted music, your inheritance. He set the conditions. You wanted the money. You had to leave your life here, move, work with him. Music, prove you were worthy. And you were young, ambitious, when I offered you the chance to meet your real father, to be part of his empire. Music, you didn't think twice. Lie." I hesitated. Marta was an obstacle, so I made sure you didn't bring her along. Music. "What did you do, Mama?" "I told Alejandro that he demanded you come alone, that it was his condition. And I made sure a letter reached Marta." Fernand stood up abruptly. "Music? What letter?" "A letter from you, or so she thought, saying you had met someone else, that the marriage had been a mistake, not to look for you again. You're lying." "I wish, but no." Patricia pulled an old paper from her bag. "This is the copy I kept." Fernand read it. It was his handwriting, or a perfect imitation. Cruel words he never wrote, goodbyes he never gave. Marta received this. "Yes, 3 days after you left." Everything made sense. Why Marta changed her number? Why she never looked for him? Why when he finally tried to return, she was already with Pedro? "You destroyed my life. I gave you a better life. You destroyed my family before I had the chance to create it. I gave you wealth, success, everything you wanted. I wanted Marta, I wanted my son, I wanted the life we were building." Patricia stood up. "You were too young to know what you wanted. I was 23. Enough to decide." Music. "And look at you now, millionaire, successful. You're gonna tell me you regretted every day of my life. I regret many things, music, but this decision won't be one of them." His mother left, leaving silence in her wake. Music. Marta sat down. "Fernand too. 15 years, she whispered. 15 years destroyed by a lie. I'm sorry. It wasn't your fault. No, completely. I should have fought more. I should have come sooner. I should have. But Marta put her hand on his. It's over, we can't change it. Then what do? We move forward with the truth. This time, the door opened. Sofia, Diego, and Mateo came in. They had been with Rosa. Who was that lady? Sofia asked. My mother, Fernand replied. Music. She looked angry. She was. Because I made a decision she doesn't approve of. Music. What decision? To stay here with you all forever. Sofia studied his face. Forever? Really? Really forever? And if she comes back? And if she offers you more money? There isn't enough money in the world to keep me away from you all again. Diego hesitantly stepped closer. Music, can we call you Papa? Fernand's heart stopped. If you want to, but we had another Papa, Pedro, and he will always be our Papa. Nobody can replace him, but maybe you can have two, one in your memories and one here. Diego thought, then nodded. Okay, Papa. Fernand. Mateo ran to hug him. Music, I have a Papa again. Sofia stayed back. Watching, she finally approached. One more chance, she said, but it's the last one. I know, I won't waste it. I won't. He hugged her, and for the first time in 15 years, Fernand felt he was exactly where he should be. 6 months later. Marta's house now had a new porch. Fernand had built it with his own hands. He didn't hire anyone. He did it himself. Every nail, every plank. The kids were playing in the yard. Sofia, completely recovered, ran with her brothers. Her laughter filled the air. Fernand and Marta sat together watching. Happy? She asked. More than I deserve. We all deserve second chances, and we have a second chance. Marta looked at him. There was love in her eyes, but also caution. Scars that would never completely disappear. Ask me in a year, or in 5 music, or in 20, and maybe then I'll have an answer. It was enough for now. Fernand had learned that love doesn't always come with guarantees, that family is built day by day, that being a father isn't about blood, but about presence, and that sometimes the greatest treasure isn't what you build, but what you almost lost and fight to get back. The lesson. This story teaches us that it's never too late to come home, that the mistakes of the past don't define our future, that true love survives time, music lies, even absence. But above all, it teaches us that actions always speak louder than words. Fernand lost 15 years, but he gained the rest of his life. Not because he had money, but because he finally music understood what truly mattered. What would you do in this situation? Would you choose success or family? Music, wealth, or love? Let me know in the comments. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Someone who is far from home. Someone who thinks it's too late to return. Because it's never too late as long as there is life. Music as long as there is love. As long as there is the courage to face our mistakes and make peace with our past. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that go straight to the heart. Stories of second chances, of broken families rebuilding, of love that survives everything. The next video will surprise you even more. Because we all have secrets, we all carry pain, and we all deserve a chance at redemption. See you in the next story. M.